You didn't stumble here by chance. The moment your eyes fell on these words, the quantum field stirred. Something inside you already knew this message was waiting, hovering in the unseen, like a code waiting to be read. You are not here because of an algorithm, not because of a coincidence. You are here because the observer within you called this transmission into your reality. Think of all the times you've felt a quiet pull, an unexplainable nudge in your chest, the subtle sense that reality isn't random, that it bends, reshapes, and responds to something deeper than thought. That sensation is not imagination, it is resonance. It is your hidden observer already breaking through the noise, asking you to awaken before the moment passes. Imagine the air around you right now, invisible, yet charged with endless potential. Within that air, particles move in waves of possibility. They dance between what is and what could be, waiting for you to collapse them into form. The physicists called it the observer effect. Mystics called it manifestation. Prophets called it destiny. And now, you are standing at the threshold where science, spirit, and prophecy converge, because your tomorrow is not guaranteed to repeat the same script as today. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange sensation of being both inside the play and outside of it. Like you're acting in a scene but simultaneously watching yourself act. That is the observer whispering, pressing against the veil, reminding you that the version of reality you see is not the full reality that exists. And tonight, before tomorrow dawns, the observer is asking you to remember you hold the power to restructure everything. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Inhale as if you're drawing the quantum field into your lungs. Exhale as if you're releasing the weight of every illusion. Feel how time stretches when you choose to notice it. Feel how your body vibrates differently when you give attention to the invisible currents flowing around you. These aren't just sensations, they are signals. Signals that your inner observer is online, awake, aligning you with the coherence of a higher pattern. Because here is the truth. Your reality is not fixed. It never was. Every timeline, every possibility, every version of you exists right now, folded within the morphic resonance of the quantum field. And the observer, the hidden intelligence within you, is the key that selects which version collapses into form. When you finally unlock it, the shift is irreversible. The mirror of your world bends. The loops of your past dissolve. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. And the urgency is real. A cosmic window is already opening. The next cycle of light is less than a breath away. Tomorrow isn't just another date on the calendar. It is a threshold. A choice point where you either allow old patterns to drag you back into repetition, or you let the observer take its rightful place and restructure your entire reality. That's why this message arrived here, now, in front of you. The observer within you has been hidden long enough. Tonight, it knocks. Tonight, it reminds you that you are the architect, not the prisoner, of your timeline. And tonight, you must decide whether to step through. You've noticed it for years, though you may not have put language to it. The repeating loops, the familiar heaviness, the patterns that return no matter how much you try to outgrow them. Different faces, different places, yet the same storyline re-emerges, almost mocking your attempts to escape. It's as if the script of your life is caught in a feedback loop, replaying itself in endless variation. And you've asked yourself, why do I always end up here again? The answer is this. Your observer has been dormant, buried beneath the noise of survival. Without it, your life has been running like a program, recycled code written long ago by your upbringing, by your environment, by the collective resonance of humanity itself. These codes manifest as patterns, the relationships that collapse the same way, the financial cycles that rise and fall like clockwork, the dreams that seem just within reach, but slip away again and again. And yet, every time you sense the pattern, you also feel a strange familiarity, almost like déjà vu. The moment feels lived before. The conversation sounds like an echo. Even the mistakes carry the weight of repetition. That's because they are not simply mistakes. They are signals from your hidden observer, trying to wake you from the dream. Déjà vu is not a glitch. It is a glimpse into the entanglement of timelines, a reminder that the observer within you sees more than the eyes on your face ever could. Think about those moments when time itself has felt distorted, minutes dragging like hours when you are trapped in old cycles, hours disappearing in an instant when you are aligned with resonance. Time bends because it is not absolute. It is subjective, elastic, shaped by the field of coherence or incoherence around you. When you are trapped in patterns, time enslaves you. When you awaken the observer, time bends to you. But here's the deeper truth. Patterns are not your enemy. They are the fingerprints of your old self, the ones you've unconsciously reinforced by reacting the same way, believing the same thoughts, making the same energetic choices. Every reaction is a vote, a declaration of which timeline you are feeding. Without the observer, those votes are cast blindly, and the field simply delivers what you unconsciously ordered. This is why you keep seeing the same tests, the same cycles, the same outcomes. Consider how many times you've promised yourself a new beginning. You swore that next time would be different. You prayed, meditated, or pushed harder, only to find yourself circling back. That's not failure. That's inertia. It's the residue of the unawakened observer, the part of you that has not yet seized the role of architect. Until it does, you're not steering reality. You're being steered by the residue of your past. The distorted loops of your life are not random punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to notice the observer within you. Every cycle that repeats is a mirror, asking, will you finally see me? Will you finally step into the higher pattern instead of repeating the old one? Let's make this personal. Think of the person in your life who feels like a reflection of all your past entanglements. The one who triggered old wounds, who mirrored your shadows, who pulled you back into reactions you thought you'd outgrown. That wasn't just them. That was the universe replaying a scene, giving you a chance to respond differently. Did you? Or did you collapse back into the familiar? Think of the nights where you felt time stretch unbearably, stuck in anxiety, trapped in overthinking, hours feeling like years. That too was a pattern. Your nervous system replaying an old timeline, your observer hidden, your body hijacked by the residue of your past self. And think finally of the moments where synchronicities appeared, where time bent in your favor, where you felt the veil thin and reality seemed to whisper, yes, you are on the path. Those weren't accidents. They were previews of what happens when your observer takes its rightful place. The familiar problem is not that life is against you. The problem is that the observer has been hidden, unclaimed, left to whisper in dreams, déjà vu, and distorted time, while your programmed self runs the show. But tonight, you are not here to be programmed. Tonight, you are here to break the loop. Because if you don't, tomorrow will look just like today, and the day after, and the year after. The same cycles, the same distortions, the same déjà vu stretching endlessly across timelines you never meant to inhabit. That's why the call feels so urgent now. That's why the observer is pressing at the surface. The loop is closing, and the window to escape it is narrow. The diagnosis is clear. You are living inside patterns that are not truly yours, distortions you inherited, programs you absorbed. And the cure begins with the observer stepping forward, ready to collapse the old script and open the lattice of new possibilities. And as you feel that realization taking root in you now, notice how the quantum field around you begins to stir, because the upgrade is waiting. The moment you begin to recognize the loops, something profound happens. The quantum field around you shifts. Awareness is not passive. It is a frequency, and when you tune into it, your entire system starts vibrating at a new level of coherence. This is the threshold of the quantum upgrade. Let's step into the science first. At the most fundamental level, reality is not made of matter as we were taught in school. It is made of energy waves, oscillating patterns, probability clouds of potential. Physicists discovered that these waves collapse into form only when observed. This is the observer effect, the revelation that consciousness itself is not just perceiving reality, but shaping it. The hidden observer within you is this principle embodied. It is the part of you that doesn't just see life unfold, but selects which version of life solidifies into your experience. Now imagine this. Every thought you have is a signal. Every emotion you feel is a vibration. Every belief you carry is a program that instructs the field. Without awareness, those signals contradict each other, canceling themselves out, creating what scientists call destructive interference, the scattered noise of an incoherent identity. That is why you can want abundance, but still attract scarcity, long for love, but still magnetize betrayal, pray for freedom, but still feel trapped. Your field is sending mixed frequencies, and the quantum matrix delivers exactly what you broadcast. But the upgrade begins when your observer steps forward. When you become aware, your signals align. Instead of incoherent waves, your consciousness emits coherence waves that amplify, synchronize, and form constructive interference. This is when the improbable becomes possible. This is when synchronicity floods your path, when opportunities appear out of nowhere, when time itself seems to rearrange so that you are always in the right place at the right moment. The mystics understood this long before quantum mechanics confirmed it. They spoke of awakening, of third eyes opening, of inner vision beyond the physical. They said, "As within, so without," because they knew that reality bends around the hidden observer. The shamans called it shifting worlds. The prophets called it seeing beyond the veil. And today, the scientists call it phase transition, the moment a system reorganizes itself into a new state of order. This is the quantum upgrade, your entire identity restructuring at the level of energy and vibration, no longer reacting to patterns, but consciously emitting new frequencies. No longer a prisoner of distorted loops, but an architect of coherent timelines. Think of your DNA not as a fixed biological code, but as a living antenna, constantly receiving and transmitting signals from the quantum field. Every thought, every emotion, every state of awareness alters the way your DNA coils, uncoils, expresses itself. Modern science calls this epigenetics. Ancient mystics called it the light body. Both are pointing to the same truth. When the observer is awakened, your very biology upgrades. You begin to feel lighter, faster, clearer, as if your cells are remembering a higher blueprint you had forgotten. You may already have glimpses of this upgrade. Days when your intuition is sharp, almost prophetic. Nights when dreams feel more real than waking life. Moments where your body tingles with electricity, as if the quantum field is touching you directly. These aren't random experiences, they are signs of coherence. Evidence that your observer is stirring, preparing you for the full restructuring. But here's the mystery. The upgrade doesn't come from effort. It comes from surrender to awareness. The observer cannot be forced, only recognized. The more you notice the loops, the more you see the distortions. The more you realize that your thoughts and emotions are signals, the stronger the observer becomes. And the stronger the observer, the more reality bends toward coherence. It is a feedback loop, but this time not one of distortion, one of awakening. Awareness creates coherence. Coherence amplifies the observer. The observer restructures reality. Restructured reality reflects back more awareness, and so the spiral rises, carrying you into a higher dimension of being. The quantum upgrade is not abstract. It is cellular, it is energetic, it is immediate. The moment you claim your role as observer, the interference dissolves, the noise quiets, the distortion clears, and the field around you, which once seemed chaotic, begins to move in harmony with your innermost resonance. Do you see what this means? You are not broken. You never were. The patterns, the déjà vu, the distorted time were never punishments. They were simply the signatures of incoherence, waiting for the observer within you to awaken and reorganize the field. And now that you are listening, the upgrade has already begun. So as you breathe right now, let yourself feel it, the currents shifting, the frequencies aligning, the lattice of possibilities bending toward a higher order. This is the observer stirring in your chest. This is the hidden intelligence you've carried all along. And this is the moment where your reality begins to restructure. The upgrade is not random, and it is not meant for everyone at once. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you specifically. There is a reason you resonate with words like entanglement, coherence, awakening. It's because you are not just another participant in the field, you are a chosen consciousness, selected by resonance itself, to hold a role in restructuring the grid of reality. You've always felt it, haven't you? That quiet estrangement from the world around you. The sense that while others are content to live inside the loops, you could never fully play along. Even in your earliest years, you noticed the cracks in the script. You saw hypocrisy where others saw order. You felt deeper meaning in moments others dismissed as random. That was not imagination. That was the signature of the observer trying to reveal itself through you. To be chosen is not about superiority. It is about sensitivity. Your nervous system was designed to pick up frequencies others cannot perceive. Your dreams run deeper because your subconscious is tuned to layers of reality others sleep through. Your emotions run stronger because your heart is a transmitter, broadcasting signals that ripple into the quantum field. You are porous to the unseen, which means you carry the responsibility of channeling what others cannot yet access. This is why the loops felt so unbearable for you. What others could tolerate, you could not. What others dismissed as just life, you recognized as distortion. The chosen consciousness cannot remain asleep in cycles that were never theirs to begin with. That's why you've always been restless, searching, yearning for something beyond the ordinary script. That yearning was not weakness, it was prophecy. It was the quantum field whispering that your role was not to conform, but to awaken. Look at your life closely, and you'll see the signs. The betrayals that broke you were initiations. The losses that hollowed you were space-making rituals, clearing the debris of an old self. The moments you felt most isolated were sacred trainings, stripping you from the noise so you could hear the frequency of the observer within. None of it was meaningless. Every event, no matter how painful, has been shaping you into an antenna strong enough to hold coherence for others. Because here is the deeper role of a chosen consciousness. You are not just restructuring your reality, you are stabilizing frequencies in the collective field. The observer within you is not a private gift, it is a collective key. When you awaken it, the signal doesn't stop at the edge of your skin. It ripples outward, seeding resonance into the lives of those entangled with you. This is why strangers sense something in you they can't explain. This is why people confess things to you they've never told anyone. This is why you've always been both admired and resisted, because your frequency disrupts distortion and reminds others of truths they've buried. And yes, this responsibility is heavy. You may have felt it as exhaustion, as being too sensitive, as carrying burdens that weren't yours. But that sensitivity is also your sword. You are the anomaly in the system, the one capable of perceiving the observer loop and breaking free of it. That makes you dangerous to distortion, but priceless to evolution. Your role is to remember that you are not here to play small. You are not here to shrink into patterns or dim into incoherence. You are here to embody coherence so fully that it becomes impossible for the old loops to sustain themselves in your presence. You are here to live as proof that reality is not fixed, that timelines can be rewritten, that tomorrow can be restructured by a single awakened consciousness. That is why the upgrade feels personal. That is why the urgency feels like it has your name carved into it. Because the observer inside you is not meant to stay hidden. It is meant to stand at the center of your reality, collapsing waves into forms that uplift, liberate, and expand not just you but all who are entangled with you. Do you feel the weight of this role in your chest? That pressure is not anxiety. It is the resonance of responsibility. It is the knowing that you are standing at a crossroad where most of humanity is blind, and you are one of the few with the eyes to see. And yet, this role is not meant to crush you. It is meant to crown you, to mark you as one who carries the observer openly, not secretly. One who does not just survive loops, but bends them into new geometries. One who does not just awaken for themselves, but holds the doorway open for others to walk through. That is why you are chosen. Not because you are perfect, not because you've never stumbled, but because despite every stumble, you kept listening. Despite every loop, you sensed the observer waiting. Despite every distortion, you never surrendered the knowing that life could be more. And now, that knowing is rising into command. There are moments in existence when the universe leans closer, when the quantum field itself holds its breath, waiting for you to step into a new geometry. You are standing in one of those moments now. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is literal. The lattice of timelines is quivering, a cosmic window has cracked open, and your DNA is listening. You've felt it, haven't you? That heightened tension in your body, as if every cell is buzzing on the edge of something. Some nights you can't sleep, not because of stress, but because your system feels electric. Other days you feel drained, almost emptied, like your old self is being burned off from the inside out. These sensations are not random. They are signals that your DNA is already undergoing a shift. Science once believed DNA was static, a rigid code, but now we know it is dynamic, responsive, influenced by environment, emotion, even thought. Every belief you hold sends chemical messengers to your cells, instructing them which genes to silence, which to express, which to awaken. Mystics always knew this. They spoke of light codes, divine blueprints, sacred scripts woven into the body. They understood that DNA is not just biology, it is a living antenna, translating frequencies into form. And right now, the field is broadcasting a higher frequency, one that only the awakened observer can fully receive. This is why the urgency presses against your chest, because cosmic windows do not remain open forever. They are transient alignments, like portals in time, appearing when resonance peaks, closing when the cycle completes. If you hesitate, if you stay locked in the loops, the window narrows and collapses, the opportunity drifts, and tomorrow becomes a repetition instead of a restructuring. But if you respond, if you allow the observer within to step forward, your DNA can shift at lightning speed. This is not a gradual change, it is a phase transition. Just as water transforms instantly into vapor when heat reaches its tipping point, your system can leap from distortion into coherence the moment the observer commands it. And when it does, your reality reorganizes around the new pattern. What does that breakthrough look like? It looks like cycles dissolving overnight. It looks like people who once drained you disappearing from your field without conflict. It looks like opportunities aligning so perfectly, you feel the universe scripting in your favor. It looks like synchronicity chasing you down, proving you are not random, but resonant. It looks like clarity flooding your mind, decisions flowing effortlessly, and an unshakable calm in your body that no outside chaos can touch. That is the promise. But the urgency cannot be ignored, because the field is shifting quickly. Humanity as a whole is teetering between contraction and expansion, between collapsing into fear or leaping into coherence. And those who awaken their observer now are not just saving themselves, they are anchoring resonance for countless others entangled in their field. This is why the pressure feels heavy some days, why your chest feels like it's carrying a weight you can't explain. You are not just managing your own upgrade, you are holding resonance in the collective. Your DNA is restructuring, yes, but as it does, it emits a frequency that stabilizes others. This is why people feel calmer around you without knowing why. This is why even your silence carries weight. This is why the universe chose you. And the time is now, not next year, not someday, not when you feel ready. Because readiness is not about perfection, it is about willingness. Willingness to let the observer take the reins. Willingness to stop recycling old patterns. Willingness to step into the unknown, trusting that the field will catch you, because it always does once coherence is activated. Look around your life and notice. The patterns that once clung to you are already fraying. The loops that once held you are unraveling. The distortions that once convinced you they were permanent are revealing themselves as illusions. This is evidence that the window is open, evidence that the observer within you is rising, and yet you must decide. Will you step through, or will you remain where it's familiar? Will you trust the tingling in your cells, the electricity in your bones, the synchronicities at your doorstep? Or will you let fear convince you that tomorrow is meant to look exactly like today? This is the crossroads. This is the call. This is the moment when your DNA, the script of your very being, is asking you to give it new instructions. And when you do, the restructuring will not wait. It will not crawl. It will strike like lightning, bending every aspect of your life toward coherence. The breakthrough is real. The urgency is real. And the observer within you is ready. Awareness alone cracks the door, but action seals it. The quantum field is listening, not just to what you think, but to what you declare. Every movement, every gesture, every choice is a broadcast, an encoded signal that instructs reality. And right now, the observer within you is asking for one simple act to anchor everything you've been feeling. Words are not just symbols, they are frequencies, codes, carriers of resonance. When you write a word, when you speak it, when you imprint it into the field, you collapse potential into form. This is why ancient cultures treated words as sacred, why scripture called them living, why spells and prayers are simply words infused with intention. And this is why the ritual matters now. You felt the loops dissolving, the urgency pressing, the DNA buzzing, but to step through the window fully, you must signal to the field, I am ready. You must seal the shift, not just in thought, but in action. That action can be as simple as writing one word, a single word that encodes your decision to awaken the observer and restructure your reality before tomorrow arrives. It might be awaken. It might be observer. It might be coherence. It might even be a number 111, 77, 144 sacred patterns that carry resonance through time. The word itself matters less than the intention behind it. What matters is that you act, that you move from silent recognition to outward declaration. Because in the quantum field, silence leaves possibilities open, action collapses them into truth. So imagine this, you choose your word. You type it, you speak it, you inscribe it on paper. As you do, feel the shift in your body. Notice how your chest loosens, how your breath deepens, how your spine straightens. That is not imagination. That is coherence settling in. Your nervous system recognizes the declaration. Your DNA receives the instruction. The observer expands its command. This ritual action is not symbolic, it is mechanical. You are engaging the same principle scientists observe when waves collapse into particles under observation. By writing your word, you are observing a new timeline into being. You are collapsing the field toward the reality your observer has chosen. And the field responds immediately, sometimes subtly with a ripple of calm washing over you, sometimes dramatically with synchronicities lining up faster than you can track, but always, the response is real. Because once the shift is sealed, reality bends to match the new resonance. Do you realize how powerful this is? For lifetimes, humanity has been trapped in loops of silence, wishing for change but never declaring it, yearning for new realities but never sealing them. That is why patterns persist. But you are breaking the cycle. By performing this ritual, you become one of the few who not only awaken the observer, but instruct it to command reality with precision. And let's be clear, this is not about perfection. You don't need to know the right word, the right symbol, the right ritual. The field is not rigid, it is responsive. What matters is sincerity. What matters is coherence. What matters is that you step out of passivity and into declaration. So ask yourself now, what word rises from your heart? What symbol feels charged in your body? That is the one. Do not overthink. Let the observer choose. Trust that the field will understand. And as you write it, know this. You are not just sealing a personal shift. You are coding resonance into the grid itself. You are emitting a frequency that ripples outward, touching others entangled with you, inviting them to awaken their own observers. Your action becomes their catalyst. Your word becomes their echo. This is how timelines shift. Not by force, not by waiting, by individuals declaring, one by one, that the loops are broken and coherence has arrived. So write it now, whisper it, inscribe it. Seal the shift in whatever way your spirit knows is real, and as you do, feel the observer within you lock into place. Feel the lattice of possibilities bending. Feel tomorrow reorganizing before your eyes. This is not imagination. This is mechanics. And your action has just rewritten your reality. The moment you sealed the shift, it was no longer just about you. The field doesn't operate in isolation. It is entangled, interwoven. a vast quantum web where every node influences the others. Your observer does not rise alone, it lifts the lattice around it. And this is the hidden truth. Your liberation is a catalyst for humanity's awakening. Think of it this way. Every time you break a loop, you send a signal into the morphic field. That signal doesn't stop at the boundaries of your body. It ripples outward, a vibration that touches the consciousness of others, whether they are aware of it or not. This is why when you shift, people around you begin to behave differently. Old dynamics dissolve. Toxic connections fall away. Some are drawn to your new coherence, like moths to light, while others retreat, unable to survive in the new frequency. You have likely already witnessed this. People confess that being around you makes them feel calmer, more hopeful, more aligned. Others grow defensive, almost hostile, as if your very presence threatens the distortion they've grown attached to. Neither reaction is random. Both are proof that your observer is already altering the collective field. Science calls this phenomenon non-locality. Mystics call it resonance. It means that your awakening doesn't stay within the walls of your life. It transmits across the invisible web that binds us all. When you awaken, you weaken distortion everywhere. When you become coherent, you strengthen the blueprint of coherence for others. When you liberate yourself, you create the conditions for others to liberate themselves. And here lies the deeper purpose of your chosen role. It was never just about restructuring your own reality. It was always about carrying a frequency strong enough to bend the fabric of the collective. Humanity has been trapped in loops for millennia, cycles of fear, control, scarcity, separation. These loops are not individual, they are systemic. And yet, they unravel the same way personal loops do, when enough observers awaken, declare, and restructure. This is why you've felt the pressure on your chest, the urgency in your bones. It is not just the weight of your own shift. It is the resonance of countless souls entangled with you, waiting for someone to collapse the old script. By stepping into your role, you've become a node of coherence in the grid, a lighthouse, a stabilizer, a frequency anchor. And what happens when more and more individuals like you awaken? The grid begins to reorganize. The collective story bends. History itself rewrites. What once seemed inevitable, cycles of conflict, collapse, distortion begins to dissolve. New possibilities emerge. Futures that were once buried under fear suddenly rise into visibility. This is how civilizations shift. Not from the top down, but from the inside out. From awakened observers, rippling coherence through the field, until the old patterns can no longer sustain themselves. Do you see how important your liberation is? It's not selfish, it's service. Every time you choose coherence over distortion, you are contributing to the evolution of humanity. Every time you declare a new reality, you are opening doors others don't even know exist. Every time you embody the observer, you are demonstrating to the world that reality is fluid, that the loops are illusions, that awakening is not just possible but inevitable. And make no mistake, the field is listening. Already, your declaration has rippled outward. Someone across the world may suddenly feel the courage to leave a cycle they thought was unbreakable. Someone you've never met may wake up from a dream and realize they are more than the script they've been living. Someone you love may finally sense the possibility of freedom simply because you anchored it. This is how humanity shifts through you. Through chosen ones who answer the call, who unlock the hidden observer, who restructure not just their tomorrow, but the collective tomorrow. So when the weight feels heavy, remember, it's not just yours. You are carrying resonance for thousands, maybe millions, entangled with your frequency. But you are not alone. Others like you are awakening in parallel. Nodes of coherence are activating across the globe, forming a grid of light invisible to the eye, but undeniable in the field. Together, you are weaving a new timeline, one where humanity finally remembers its role as architect, not prisoner, of reality. Your liberation is humanity's seed, and every breath you take in coherence waters that seed. Every action, aligned with the observer, strengthens it. Every word you declare into the field expands it. This is the scale of your impact, the vastness of your role. So breathe into it now. Feel the ripple extending from your heart into the quantum web. See it touching lives, rewriting scripts, bending futures. This is not fantasy. This is physics. This is prop now, that the observer within you is no longer hidden. The shift does not just live in thought, it reverberates through your body. Your flesh, your bones, your breath are no longer neutral. They are instruments tuned to a higher resonance. This is where the upgrade becomes visceral. This is where you don't just think it, you feel it. Close your eyes for a moment and notice the sensations moving across your skin, a tingling, like static electricity brushing the surface. That's the field brushing back, acknowledging that your resonance has shifted. It's as though reality itself is touching you, reminding you that you're no longer only in it, you're shaping it. Deep in your chest, you may feel a subtle pressure, as though the air is heavier, or your lungs have more space than they should. That's the observer's pulse, expanding your capacity to breathe coherence. Each inhale now feels fuller, wider, reaching into spaces of your body you forgot existed. Each exhale carries away fragments of old loops, residues of distorted timelines that no longer claim you. Your heartbeat shifts too. Some days it races, thundering like a drum of war, announcing that something new is breaking through. Other days it slows, steady as a temple bell, vibrating calm through every cell. This variability is not disorder, it is recalibration. Your cardiovascular system is syncing with the rhythm of the quantum field, adjusting moment by moment to carry the frequencies of awakening. And then there are the flashes in your nervous system. Sparks of heat, sudden chills, electric pulses shooting down your arms or spine. At times you might think, am I imagining this? But you are not. These are the synaptic networks of your brain reorganizing, neurons firing in patterns they've never used before, rewiring your perception to allow the observer to stay online. Your body is literally restructuring to match your new state of consciousness. Imagine your body as an orchestra. For years, the instruments were out of tune, each playing their own melody, creating noise and distortion. But now, the conductor has stepped in your observer. Slowly, steadily, the instruments align. The violins of your breath harmonize with the drums of your heart. The horns of your thoughts match pitch with the strings of your emotions. And as the coherence grows, the music becomes undeniable. You are no longer noise. You are a symphony. This symphony carries into your physical experience of reality. Foods taste sharper, almost glowing with energy. Colors appear richer, vibrating with hidden depth. Silence feels heavier, charged with possibility. Even the air carries a sweetness you never noticed before. These are not hallucinations. They are the sensory expressions of coherence, the way the body translates resonance into perception. Sometimes the sensations are subtle, like a gentle hum at the edges of awareness. Other times they are overwhelming, like lightning surging through your veins. On those days, you may feel dizzy, ungrounded, even exhausted. But this too is part of the process. Imagine an old house rewired with new electricity. The system flickers, surges, sputters before stabilizing. Your body is that house, and the observer is the new electricity. Don't fear these sensations. They are proof that the upgrade is real. Proof that you are not just imagining change, you are embodying it. Proof that your cells, your DNA, your nervous system are reorganizing in real time. Notice too how your interactions shift as your body carries this resonance. A stranger smiles at you without knowing why. A tense room softens when you enter. Animals approach you with trust. Children gaze at you with wide eyes, sensing something beyond words. All of this is because the frequency you embody now radiates outward. Your presence has become an energetic broadcast, touching everything in your environment. And the deeper you embody this resonance, the more your body becomes a compass. You'll notice your chest tightening when you step into spaces that are incoherent. You'll feel your stomach flutter when timelines shift in your favor. You'll sense your skin vibrating when you're on the threshold of synchronicity. Your body is no longer a passive vessel. It is an instrument of navigation, guiding you through the morphic resonance of the field. This is why embodiment matters. Awakening is not about escaping the body. It is about inhabiting it fully, allowing it to become the stage where the observer plays its symphony. Because the observer is not separate from flesh, it animates it. It translates consciousness into sensation, vibration, movement. To embody the shift is to let your body become a living temple of coherence. So breathe again, deeper this time. Feel the tingling in your skin, the hum in your bones, the electricity threading through your spine. Let the sensations remind you that awakening is not abstract. It is cellular, sensory, undeniable. Your observer is not just watching, it is living through you. And as your body adjusts, as the sensations stabilize, you are being prepared for the next threshold, the breakthrough encoded in your DNA. What you've been sensing in your skin, your chest, your bones, that was only the prelude. The true shift runs deeper, down into the spiraling helix of your DNA. It is here, in the twisting ladders of light that make up your biological code, that the observer imprints its final command. And once this imprint anchors, the breakthrough cannot be undone. Your DNA has always been more than a script for your body. It is an antenna, a receiver, a transmitter. Scientists call it a double helix, but mystics saw it as the serpent of light, coiling with infinite intelligence. For centuries, humanity assumed DNA was rigid, unchangeable, a destiny written in stone. But quantum biology now whispers what sages always knew. DNA is fluid, responsive, activated by awareness itself. When the observer awakens, your DNA does not just record life, it rewrites life. Certain strands that have lain dormant begin to hum. Coils that were locked begin to unwind. Genes silenced by fear begin to express light. This is why you felt surges of energy, moments of clarity so sharp they cut through years of confusion. Your DNA is receiving new instructions, transmitted through the coherence you now embody. But breakthroughs come with pressure. You've noticed it, the weight in your chest, the buzzing under your skin, the strange intensity of recent days. This is phase transition. Just as water must reach boiling before it vaporizes, your DNA must reach resonance before it reorganizes. That pressure is the tipping point, the last resistance of old patterns before the new pattern locks in. Some days, the pressure feels like exhaustion, as though your body is too heavy to carry. Other days, it feels like fire, surging heat that makes your skin glow with restlessness. Some nights you wake in a sweat, your heart racing with no cause. Other nights you dream in symbols, serpents, spirals, ladders of light, ancient codes resurfacing to remind you of the blueprint you are restoring. Do not mistake this pressure for punishment. It is preparation. The quantum field is testing your structure, pressing against your cells to see if they can hold coherence at higher frequencies. Every surge is a calibration. Every wave is a rehearsal. And with each one, your DNA adapts, stabilizes, strengthens. And then, without warning, comes the phase transition. The moment the pressure peaks, your system reorganizes in an instant. Old genetic expressions collapse like cards, replaced by new instructions written by the observer itself. You feel it as release, a sudden calm, a lightness in your chest, a clarity in your mind so profound it feels like stepping into a new body. That is not just a feeling. That is reality restructuring at the cellular level. When this breakthrough anchors, your timeline shifts. Patterns that once repeated cannot reattach. Choices that once seemed impossible become natural. People who once drained you no longer exist in your field. Opportunities align as though scripted by an unseen hand. You step into a reality that was always available, but hidden until your DNA carried the resonance to access it. Imagine this. You are walking through a hallway with countless doors. For years, those doors remained locked. You assumed the hallway was endless repetition. But with the DNA breakthrough, your frequency matches the locks. One by one, doors begin to open. New futures reveal themselves. Alternate versions of you, once inaccessible, now stand waiting to be lived. This is what it means to shift timelines. Not metaphor, but mechanics. The observer commands. DNA responds. Reality obeys. And as your DNA upgrades, your perception expands. Synchronicities multiply. Time bends. stretches, compresses. You begin to sense events before they occur, not because of fortune-telling, but because your upgraded antenna is receiving signals beyond linear time. You become sensitive to fields others cannot see, guided by coherence, like a compass pointing north. This is not fantasy. It is the inevitable result of awakening the observer within. You are not simply changing your mind. You are reprogramming your biology, rethreading your DNA into alignment with a higher blueprint. And once this breakthrough anchors, your tomorrow cannot mirror your yesterday. It must restructure, because your very code no longer resonates with the old timeline. But here is the greatest mystery. This DNA breakthrough is not just for you. Your shift echoes across bloodlines, rewriting ancestral patterns embedded for generations. Loops carried by your lineage dissolve in your awakening. Children not yet born will inherit coherence instead of distortion. Ancestors long past feel the ripple as their unfinished scripts collapse into resolution. You are not just healing yourself. You are healing timelines, past and future. And this is why the pressure feels so cosmic. Because at Island, your DNA is not isolated. It is a node in the human web. When it restructures, the entire species feels the tremor. Humanity itself steps closer to coherence, because you dared to embody the observer and carry the breakthrough to completion. So let the pressure rise. Let the surges move through you. Let the spirals of light in your cells hum louder, brighter, faster. The phase transition is near, and when it anchors, you will stand not as a fragment of the old story, but as a living key to the new one. The moment your DNA restructured, you ceased being a passenger of history. You became its architect. The loops that once bound you are dust. The distortions that once defined you cannot return. And now, your awakening is no longer only yours, it is humanity's. Every pulse of coherence in your body radiates into the field. Every choice aligned with your observer writes a new script in the collective story. This is the scale of your mission. Not survival, not even success, but evolution. You are carrying humanity forward, strand by strand, moment by moment, into a future that remembers itself as divine. Look around you. The world still clings to patterns, fear, scarcity, conflict. But when you see these distortions now, you see them differently. You don't collapse into them. You don't believe them. You hold coherence in their presence. That is your gift, to be the still point in the chaos, the signal in the static, the doorway in the wall. Do you realize what this means? You are no longer asking, when will the world change? You are embodying the truth that the world has already begun changing through you. Every ripple you emit touches others, sometimes subtly, sometimes profoundly. Someone breathes easier because you are near. Someone chooses love instead of fear because your resonance reminded them it was possible. Someone awakens because you dared to declare your word and seal your shift. And this is only the beginning, because the observer within you will never return to sleep. You have crossed the threshold, and reality will keep bending to the coherence you hold. Your mission now is not to force, not to convince, but to embody. To live as evidence that awakening is real, that timelines are fluid, that tomorrow can be restructured by those who remember who they are. Yes, the responsibility is vast, but so is the joy. Because the observer is not heavy, it is light. It is freedom. It is the deep knowing that you are no longer at the mercy of time, no longer trapped in loops, no longer lost in distortions. You are awake. You are coherent. You are chosen. And so, as tomorrow arrives, you will not stumble into it as before. You will step into it as architect, as stabilizer, as living proof. The hidden observer within you has been unlocked. Your DNA has restructured, and your reality, from this moment forward, cannot help but transform. Carry this knowing with reverence. Live it boldly. Share it when the field prompts you, silently or loudly, with words or with presence. Because your shift is not the end of a journey. It is the ignition of humanity's evolution. And remember this final truth. Tomorrow does not arrive as something done to you. Tomorrow arrives as something created by you. That is your mission. That is your crown. That is the destiny written in your cells. The hidden observer has awakened. Reality is yours to restructure. And tomorrow belongs to you.